This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have another good neighbor on the show, and that is Mr. Ross Johnston of Big Splash Swimming Academy. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me. I'm great. Beautiful afternoon here in Simcoe County. Couldn't wish for anything better to be outside and chatting with you.
So we had a chance to have just a little preliminary chat. First time we get the chance to meet each other. I'm super excited to get to know you, to get to know your business. But I have to ask, I'd much rather be sitting, for those who are watching on video, where you are versus where I am in my office. Where is that gorgeous view that you have there?
So we're just north in Simcoe County. We're in Aurelia, so real close to Lake Couchiching, a beautiful part of the world. Just birds in the trees and sounds of the waves.
I hope you're having a couple of beers after this, because that's exactly what I would do, sitting up there, just shooting the shit, having a podcast. And then
it's no better place in the world to enjoy a few cold ones, that's for sure.
Absolutely love it. Well, this gets me pretty interested. Big Splash Swimming Academy. Tell our listeners, tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so we're a privately run, owner-managed learn to swim academy in Barrie, Ontario. We cater for age groups from about 6 months old up to 10, 11 years old, with a big focus on water safety and learning to swim independently through a fun, innovative approach that's different from like some of the bigger community-run programs.
So I took swimming lessons. I remember really vaguely, but I do remember taking swimming lessons. What's the difference between this innovative way that you've come across and what people would normally, expect to see out there in like a local community center?
So what we did when we decided to open up a swimming academy is we actually traveled around most of Canada. We were in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and finally Ontario, and just working with different swimming schools and community centers and finding out how it was taught here. And one of the main things that we really noticed is that the numbers of the classes were really enormous. So you would have one instructor with sometimes between 8 and 15 small children trying to teach them such a valuable life skill, but it was almost nearly impossible because of the numbers in the classes. So we also found that due to the numbers in the classes, the children would very often wear life vests in the lessons, which we thought was counterintuitive to learning to swim, but spending the whole class in a life vest from a safety point of view, just because of the numbers those instructors had. So when we decided to open our business, we wanted to change the game. We're keeping the class sizes small, also offering private or semi-private classes, so the instructor and the children can get as much out of each class as possible. So creating a much more streamlined process to get children to swim faster.
I'm sure there's some kids that don't necessarily want to get in the water, or it's mom and dad that come up with the great idea, I would call it. I mean, like you said, it's a valuable life skill. Everybody should learn how to swim. It could save your life one day. And
absolutely.
So what's that like do you have like how many kids come in that are not necessarily overly eager? Is that quite a challenge that the instructors would have? And how do you guys make it fun?
Absolutely, it is. It can be a daunting experience for both parents and child to essentially go into an environment that they can't touch the floor. It's completely new to them. If they open their mouth, they choke on water. There's so many factors that can create fear and anxiety in adults and children alike. So what we've tried to create is a safe learning space. So when they come into, the facility to start with, this, really awesome like games and activities that we've partnered with another local business called Curio Hub. And, the children kind of, as they enter, they see this fun play place. So they're already at ease with that. It's not like a big center with lots of noise and loud music and different sports happening. It's entirely focused to that. The pool as well is fully enclosed, kind of like a underwater classroom, so to speak. So it's a very quiet environment for the children. So when they do come in for their first or second class, it's only them in the pool with the instructor. So already that's much more of a calming experience than kind of like a bigger facility, if you know what I mean. And just through a series of, fun interactions and games and toys, we try and, keep them calm and just let them engage and take the first steps slowly so that we have a long swimming journey and fruitful swimming journey rather than, quick crash course of how to do it, but through not as a gentle approach.
Right. What does a typical schedule look like? Like, how long does it typically take to teach somebody how to swim? I'm sure there's different levels of learning and whatnot, but what's the typical, schedule that the average person would come in to get their kid to learn how to swim?
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of different variables, particularly age. But we notice, particularly during the summer, we run week-long intensive swim camps where the child comes for a 30-minute swim class, every day of the week. And usually after that, they're pretty much swimming independently by themselves.
Nice.
Yeah. And then during, when schools are, back, September through to July, we run classes a little bit differently where they come, scheduled for a once a week or twice a week. So sometimes the progress can take a little bit longer, but there's still an intense focus to get them swimming for when that opportunity arises, whether they get into, a case where they need to save their own life or it's just having fun in someone's backyard or down at the lake.
Very cool. So I have to
Yeah.
ask you, where do you get the passion? What's the journey been like to decide to do what you're doing today?
So I started off my career like a lot of swimming instructors as a lifeguard.
Okay.
So spending my summers in high school, patrolling the beaches and the local pools, and just finding that was such a fun way to have my first summer job. And seeing it now at the local beaches around Simcoe County, watching these young high schoolers and college students starting their journey like that just fills me with so much joy because it is so fun. And it allowed me to travel around the world. Becoming a lifeguard in Canada, the qualification is rigorous and it's internationally recognized as one of the best in the world. So traveling to other countries and doing a small booster course to climatize with the new local regulations is fairly simple, and just working with kids is so much fun. It's such a good time, and watching them learn, going from scared to being so overjoyed and excited. It just bit me from a young age, and I've been doing it ever since. Haven't looked back once.
That's pretty cool. You said family run. Is your wife involved in the business as well?
Yeah, so my wife and I both run the business. She does pretty much all the front of house stuff, and all the online, helping with the online bookings and the certification processes, and all the payroll and all the behind the scenes stuff, and just making sure that when I arrive, I can pretty much get into the pool and have a fun time, teaching the kids. And so it's great having that partnership. Obviously, working together as a married couple with young kids always has its challenges, but I think it's definitely brought us closer over the last couple of years.
I always ask couples that work together that come on the show the same question, because it could be difficult, right?
Absolutely.
There's work, there's play, there's too much of one thing, not enough of the other,
Yeah,
and then you have your personal life that's kind of intertwined in all of this.
absolutely.
What's it like working with your significant other? What kind of barriers did you guys have to put down there together to make sure that when you guys come home? I had this one couple, I'll give you an example. She was pretty funny when she said her answer. She's like, well, when we're at the dinner table, I just had to set the ground rules. Like, there's no talking about work at the dinner table.
I mean, I wish that could be the case with us. It just seems, as small as this business seems, it takes up such a large portion of our lives that most of the time we are talking about it or how we want to grow the business, because we've managed to create this incredible, start for it. And it's got so much potential to just go so much bigger. not only in Ontario, but across Canada. So we're constantly, whether at the dinner, I would say probably our kids get more sick of hearing us talk about it than my significant other. But I'm hoping one day they may follow in our footsteps. Great, like I said earlier, it's a great summer job compared to some of the other ones that are out there, being out in the sun all day and having a good time. But I think just because we're so excited about how this business has done the last couple of years, and we just keep thinking about the potential and how to make it grow and make it more accessible to so many more people, like I said, not only across Simcoe County, but across Canada.
You mentioned earlier in the conversation, working on, or the business having a harmony, I like to call it, between working and playing. And you guys spend a lot of time talking about the business, but there are times too when we have to shelf that aside. We have to have that harmony between them, and then set aside for other things in life. And so when you're not working on or in your business, what does Ross like to do for fun?
Well, I found, living in different countries, it's always been quite nice to try and immerse. I love sport. I suppose that's one of the other reasons why I spend sometimes 10 hours a day in the water. So when I'm not doing that, I like to try and immerse in like the new sports. So we've taken up ice skating. We really enjoy ice skating, which is quite fun. And, obviously having these incredible community centers throughout Simcoe, they have incredible ice rinks. So we enjoy doing that as a family. I love fishing in a boat. So I'm not actually in the water when I'm doing that. So
But you're close, right?
yeah, I can stay dry for the most part. So I really enjoy that. We've got 2 very rambunctious golden retrievers. And so, with all the beautiful forests and walking trails that we have around us, I really enjoy going for a walk and just clearing my mind, from the business to try and get that harmony, as you said.
Love that. I like drinking beer, but I also like fishing as well too.
Well, they go hand in hand.
They do sometimes go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But when you go fishing, what kind of fish? Just go out there for the sake of it, doesn't matter, or do you prefer to go for certain kinds?
I've been trying in the past 6 years we've been living in Canada to catch a muskie, but I haven't been successful in that. So I think that's kind of my goal, is to catch one of those, because they look like the most incredible fish. But mostly it's been minnows in a net, or some small perch at the end of my line. So nothing to brag about quite yet.
They say, I think it's an average of 208 casts to catch a muskie.
I mean, I'm far past that average. I'm probably, if not triple that by now.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. They say it feels like reeling in a dead log.
Oh, I can
Until it leaves
believe
the
it.
boat, and then when it does, you're just going to scream your reel and go all the way down to the bottom.
Well, that's the thing. I'm gung-ho on catching one of these things, but I don't know how I'm going to end up getting the hook out of that thing's mouth, because the teeth look like, razor sharp toothpicks.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I think I'm going to have to bring a more qualified buddy along with me in the future, should that happen.
Well, I'm going to throw my hand up there for people who are watching the video. Love all that stuff. I
All
really
right.
like fishing for bass. Love topwater bass fishing. And I also
Yeah,
like fishing for pickerel too.
that's a beautiful fish.
Yeah.
Funny story, actually, quickly. We were stand-up paddleboarding on Lake Couchishing a couple of days ago. And I was alongside my daughters, and just having a nice stroll down the lake there on the paddleboard, and we saw this flock of seagulls fly past us. So we stopped for a minute to appreciate it. And one of them dropped a partially decomposed bass on my daughter's stand-up paddleboard, nearly missing her head, but right at her feet. She thought that was the first scariest thing that's happened, but shortly after the funniest thing, and it was quite hilarious.
That's
So that's the one bass I can say we've caught.
Yeah, lots of time to be able to do more of that as well too. I mean, where you go, time of where you go, and knowing what fish are on the lake make a really large contributing factor to whether you're going to be successful
Yeah.
or not.
But just getting out there and having a good time and enjoying the breeze is a good enough start.
Yeah, we're going up this weekend. I've got 5 really close friends, three boys and 2 of their wives coming up from Florida. 2 of them used to be my neighbor growing up here
Oh, awesome.
in Barrie, and then my partner Jeff from the co-host of the show, and then another best friend of mine, and then my significant other. We're all going to rent an Airbnb on a cottage on Raven Lake up in just south of Huntsville. I'm
Oh,
bringing
wow.
the fishing boat, so we're going to get a chance to try and do that this weekend.
That sounds amazing. That's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, really, really nice. Had the pleasure. Jeff and I just got out of a portaging backpacking camping trip up in
Oh,
Algonquin
wow.
for 4 days. We did a massive gauntlet. He told me he's supposed to calculate actually how many kilometers we did between canoeing and hiking. Like some of these portages were 14 football fields long, and we
That's
had to do there and then back to get the other half of the gear and then come back and load it back in the canoe. And we did that like 4 times in one day.
That's incredible. We were staying in Algonquin National Park over the Canada Day long weekend, and just driving there, having packed the vehicle for the weekend, was exhausting enough. When I saw those guys portaging across the crosswalk through the provincial park, I didn't even know how they could do it. So hats off to you for doing that.
I told
My buddy,
buddy.
actually also my old neighbor, he's been trying to convince me for a few years now to go portaging with him, and I haven't quite built up the stamina to do it. But I'm glad to hear now there's someone else I've met that's doing it and enjoying it. So it's a step in the right direction for me to try it out.
You know what's funny is I said the same thing to myself. I'm a natural athlete. I played every sport. I still play sports, play hockey in the winter time. But
That's
I'm a bit
awesome.
overweight. I don't
Bad
work
bod.
out like I should. And I don't know, you know what? You just get out there, the adrenaline kicks in, the natural athleticism picks up. And it was a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But man, the food tasted good and I slept like a baby.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds incredible. We were at another local business a few days ago, Trombley's Tackle Box in Aurelia,
I know
just
that
off
place
Highway
well.
12, and there was a whole group of guys. Sounds kind of like what you do. And they were all getting portaging ready and buying their maps for Algonquin and all the rest of it. And it looked like, I mean, the vibe that was coming out of them looked like such a fun time.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really fun to do that stuff. Tell me about your doggos.
So we've got Jack and Bailey. They're like I said, they're 2 rambunctious golden retrievers. They are 4 and 3, so they're a year apart. Same owners, same parents, but just a different breed. The older one, Jack, he's a funny one. He's been through 5 different sets of dog training. He's failed terribly at all of them. So, which is he just can't seem to understand. He just doesn't get it. He just loves life too much. I mean, if you can open the door and close the door 30 times an hour, he's in, out, can't make up his mind. His sister's amazing. Bailey, she just one round of dog training, she got it. Sit, heel, don't pull on the leash, don't jump. It just clicked for her. So I think he skipped the brains part a little bit, but he's got the cuteness factor on his side. So
Nice.
But they're great dogs. They love the water. And we've got a pool at home, so we're constantly trying to like keep them out of it, but they want to be in when the kids are in. So, but it's fun whether they're in the pool or in the lake. They're obsessed with it. But yeah, they're a good time. They love the outdoors as well.
Yeah, I've got a 3-year-old Australian Shepherd.
Oh wow, they're awesome dogs.
A red tri. Yeah, his name is Jax. So
Nice.
really close to Jack. And,
that's awesome. How old is he?
He's 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's super young. He's starting to come into his own now. He's starting to like the water.
Yeah.
Never had the opportunity to try to get him in the water when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But I put him on a few backpacking camping trips.
Yeah.
And he's a natural. He was amazing awesome. The first time I ever took him out. I'm like, have you done this before? Like, you're so good on this trip. It made it even that much cooler, right?
That's funny you say that, because we actually had someone phoned me, the swim school. It was just before the summer started, and they said they were going on a trip up north, backcountry, and they just got a new puppy, and they knew they were going to encounter water through this trip. I'm not sure, possibly they're going portaging or something similar. And they said, by chance, do you teach dogs how to swim?
Oh,
So I said, well, this is the first time anyone's come to ask us this, but unfortunately, due to health and safety regulations, we're not able to. But like you said, they're pretty natural at it. Once you entice them into the water and show them that it's a fun place to be, they take to it so quickly.
yeah, super, super cool. That would have been awesome if you were able to have a sidearm in your business to teach dogs how to swim. I'd be the first in line.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sure there'll be queues outside the door. Possibly, maybe it's the next one we do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we walk this path in life. We pick our path, we walk it, and then life decides it will get in the way. It picks and chooses when it wants to do that. We sometimes don't have any control over it. It'll throw hardships our way, life challenges our way. Sometimes it's in a form of a tragedy, but as we move forward, I think that's a part of our evolution and our DNA is to keep moving forward. We have to move forward.
Mm.
We don't have another choice. And I've been pretty amazed at human beings, our ability to see the glass half full, to find the silver lining in something that happens, and try to look at it from the right perspective. Mindset has a big thing to do with this. And so I wanted to ask you if you've ever experienced a hardship, a life challenge, in your life that maybe you overcome, maybe it made you better, maybe it made you stronger, maybe you took some silver linings from it.
Mm. Well, I think I mentioned to you earlier that we've been in Canada 6 years now. So I would say, one of the biggest hardships in my adult life was deciding to leave South Africa and our family and friends and businesses there to bring a better life for our kids into Canada. And that was such a massive decision to make, to leave all of that behind. And at the time when we decided to immigrate to South Africa, to Canada, we hadn't really thought about where we wanted to live in Canada, because we hadn't really ever been here before. And we didn't know which province, we didn't know what industry we were going to stay with teaching swimming, or we were going to do something completely different. It was this kind of this black hole we were going to that we knew nothing really about. And that was so daunting. So we literally, sold our house and our businesses and, packed our bags and jumped on an airplane, and we arrived in Toronto a few days later. And we knew we had to go and check out Vancouver. So we jumped on another flight there, and then decided to buy a vehicle and drive all the way back to Toronto so we could experience everything Canada has to offer. And that was so daunting and scary that I was keeping so much of it inside to try and create this perception for my wife and kids that this was the right decision to make. But at the same time, holding onto my steering wheel, because it was such a white knuckle ride, I didn't know, were we going to stop here and this was going to be the place? Or are we going to keep going and that's going to be the place? And I think experiencing that as a family unit together just brought us so much closer, and has helped us also find this balance, starting a new business, how to kind of keep things separated. So we were so fortunate with where we landed. The community of Barrie was so welcoming, and in the process of us deciding to open a new business and integrating into the neighborhood and the kids into a whole new schooling system and different sports and cultures, and it was just such a massive obstacle to climb. But the way we were accepted, we were blown away. I remember talking on FaceTime to our friends and family back in Cape Town, and just showing them like what our street looked like, and all the neighbors were out and they were chatting and the kids were playing and walking to the park and riding their bikes, and it was just such a massive community feel that just blew us away. So I'm so glad that we had decided to make that choice when we did, because if we never got to experience what we have the last 6 years, I would have felt like I would have been so upset. So I'm glad we went through that hardship to get where we are now, because when we go to bed at night, our hearts feel full.
Very cool story. Definitely the uncertainty, the feeling that one gets inside, the uncomfortableness. Those are all things that come before growth.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I've said this on the show a few times. I was born in Winnipeg, born just outside of Winnipeg, moved when I was 7. So grade 2 for me. And I was in French immersion at the time. My mom's side of the family is French. My dad is English. And when we moved here, put me right into French school.
Wow.
So full on French. And that was a challenge for a lot, not exactly quite like yours, but growing up here. And I've had the opportunity to see almost every major city in Canada. I did that almost in a 9-month period with a job I held in my mid-20s. So I've had the chance, like you, to see what the country has to offer. And then having lived here, I moved away to Toronto in my late 20s for 2 years. I lived in Newmarket for 1, and then just a quick little stint on the east side of the GTA. And then I moved back, right? I moved back here because Barrie and Simcoe County in general, but Barrie specifically has got, like you said, it's got that small town vibe, and the people here, our business community here, it's amazing how nice everybody is. Like I did 9 years in the car business.
Wow.
I did, less than half the people I came across, I felt were, there's some good people in the business, but
some people you go out for a beer with.
Not like the small business world here. Like that's night and day in comparison. And the automotive industry has a lot of pros as well. Not knocking that down by any stretch of the imagination, but the people here that live here and the business owners here, they're all really nice people. We have a great sense of community. Everything that you're saying, I can certainly attest to. We live in a great spot. And then look what's to the north of us. We just opened up the gateway to cottage country, and you've got everything you want there in your plate.
No, it's incredible. And I have to say, you mentioning the business community, being part of the Barrie Chamber of Commerce, and recently being introduced to the BNI, that's been an incredible place for small business owners to network with other small business owners and gather ideas and chat. And they're both incredible organizations that help small business so much through any kind of decisions or things they might encounter. So that's been a fantastic addition to the community, having those. And then a podcast like yourself is great for networking and learning from other people's ideas, mistakes, adventures. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Do you attend those Barrie Chamber After 5 networking events on Wednesday?
Guilty. Unfortunately, I don't at the moment. My work schedule, I do work on a Wednesday evening, so I get upset with myself because I really do want to attend them because they look like a great time. But from the fall, I'm trying to see if I can change my schedule a little bit so that I can be available to attend those on a Wednesday evening.
You will have to this month see if you can come out, because it's my significant other Julie and I who are hosting the BA5 at Athletic Culture, who happens to be clients of ours. It's going to be awesome. Jeff and I are going to do a podcasting montage for the first 30 to 40 business owners that come. We're going to make a hero reel and then tag everybody on social media.
Oh,
Julie's
no way.
going to teach people how to make bouquets. We're going to run people through a gauntlet. And
that's awesome.
Like that. It's going to be like really, really fun. We put some effort into trying to organize that one.
Is that Wednesday next week?
That will be, it's the weekend after.
Awesome. All right. Now I'm going to make sure I'm there.
Yeah.
And Athletic Culture, I mean, that's an incredible facility. What those guys have done with that place is just knocked the new training facility out of the park. They've done an incredible job with that.
Yeah, they're an awesome business. Great people that work there. They have their own networking event. We have our own networking event, so we'll have to talk to you a little bit about that on the other side.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
I think the one thing that I wish they knew is that we're owner run. We're managed, owner run and managed. We're there every day, 7 days a week. It's all us. It's all our blood, sweat, and tears that go into this. We're not part of a big corporation. We're on a personal level there with you and your kids, making sure that you have the best experience and the children have the best experience, and that they see the same face every time they come, when they're excited to come or nervous to come. When they walk through the doors, they see their instructor, they know who it is. It's never a surprise. So it's just that nice feeling of being neighborly and welcoming, and that's where you're supposed to be.
Very cool. Well, that was an awesome conversation. I think a lot of people now know another awesome business that's here in our local community. I'm sure there are definitely some people that are more curious than they were before. They probably would like some more information. And so for those who are, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and reach you?
Yes, I mean, two of the best are, just coming and meeting us at the front door. So we're located at 470 Huronia Road in Barrie, right next to the urgent care clinic. It's hard to miss. So, stopping by and, bringing your child along with you and having a little walk around and watch a class is always great. Otherwise, online, bigsplashswimmingacademy.ca. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram at Big Splash Swimming Academy.
Rock and roll, man. Well, really, really cool. Really cool, not just cool business, but a cool dude in the process. Really happy to have you on board. Thanks for coming on and doing this.
No, thank you, Sean. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks at the Athletic Culture event.
You got it, buddy. Talk soon.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.